I was just going to see about you calling me. And
I didn't call, so I forwarded that to the captain who's over the division. It would have been that captain who's been calling you. So I guess you want to speak with that captain who was calling?
Well, I have another complaint on a police officer.
Okay. What's your new complaint?
Oh, it's he ran my tag while I was. It's in my other phone. Oh, when I was just recording him. You can watch that if you would like. See, I didn't get out of the car or anything. I just like pulling up and sitting in my vehicle and recording from my vehicle. I usually don't say or do anything until they start talking to me. And this is, besides my other complaint, this is the second time they've ever said anything.
You're right. Straight out that door. You'll be like that.
Is it okay if I fast forward this?
Yes, sir.
Alicia Smith.
Yeah, all they're doing is towing that vehicle.
Oh yeah, having a great one.
Do you want to see the rest of the video?
Is there something else he does?
No, not really.
Oh yeah, having a
Just
great one.
how he's talking to me.
Excellent. Get home, get some sleep. Get some sleep tonight.
Oh no, I don't get much sleep. I get about 4 hours of sleep.
What kind of shirt you got on, man? I like it. What did it say? I can't see it. Were you in the military?
No, sir. I'm too handicapped to be in the military. I wanted to go in the military, but they said I was too handicapped.
What have you done? What do you do for a living, man?
What do you do for a living? Taking people's money?
My protection service.
You call this protecting service? What was this person doing then?
You have a good night.
You too.
Bye, everybody.
And this is why we record y'all. And then they just drive off. Hey, ain't you the one that pulled out in front of that lady and hit her? Are you the one that was doing
what I'm talking about, I have recorded too.
And you got hit? Yep, and that was it.
Okay. So the complaint's because he ran your tag?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Legally, he can't run a tag. You understand that, right?
For no reason?
Any reason.
For any reason whatsoever.
The tag is public view. Just like your ability to go out here and film whatever you want to from a public point of view, the tags themselves are public view. So there has been several, you can look up the court cases on that, to where the courts have said you don't have to have a reason to run a tag. That's public view just like anything else. It's not something you conceal or have a right to privacy on it. I mean, There's no right to privacy on a tag. You have to display that tag and everything
Yes, sir.
on there. So there's actually been court cases, which I'm sure you can, a quick Google search will show this, where they went up to the court systems where people have, officers have gotten behind a vehicle, they run a tag, the driver has come back with a driver's license violation, revoked, suspended, something like that. The physical description matched the person who was driving the car, so even though they hadn't confirmed that was the person yet, they stopped the car. When they stop the car, they get out, and then they do confirm whether it's a driver or not. But in those cases, the courts have upheld, and that's what the contestant was, is they ran the tag for no reason or whatever, but the courts have said that's not something that's protected. it's a public viewed item, so the officer can run that tag, and then to follow up with even more of that detail, if it's reasonable that the driver matches the description of the driver's license violation when it comes back, they've upheld that also.
Okay.
So, I mean, that is something he can do as far as from a legal standpoint, run the tag. I mean, if you're out there filming and stuff like that, they may not know what you're doing immediately and stuff
Yes,
like
sir.
that. So, just looking at it from an officer's point of view, if I see somebody come up on a traffic stop I'm conducting, it's not unreasonable to think there might be a reason that they may know somebody on that traffic stop. It might be something going on with it or whatever. That's not unreasonable for somebody to ask why somebody's up there. Now, you've got every right to say, I don't want to talk, or I don't want to say anything. It doesn't change the fact that they can still ask you that. You don't have to answer. They can't make you answer, which I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yes, sir.
But that's not unreasonable for somebody to do that when somebody's showing up at your traffic stops and stuff like that. I mean, that could be suspicious to them. It may not be suspicious like as far as the crime's going, but as far as self-preservation, making sure your safety, that you're going to be safe and stuff like that, that's something you're going to pay attention to when you're out on traffic stops and stuff like that. Who's around? I mean, we've had people get hurt on traffic stops, so I mean, that's just something that's going to come up. Now, again, everything that goes past that, being dictated past that, if you're not doing anything wrong, if you're not you're not given suspicion of committing a crime or stuff like that, it ends at that point. They're not going to, and they shouldn't keep going past that point once they've alleviated any concerns. But again, it all depends. This is all, you understand, this is individually based. You can't lay a blanket down on everything.
Yes,
it all
sir.
depends on what the circumstances are too. So I mean, and if they know you and they know you're filming or whatever, then that's probably going to be the end of it anyway, because they recognize you, know that you come out and film traffic stops. There's no need to come engage with you. But I mean, they can also talk to you all they want to. They can't
Yes.
force you to answer questions or anything unless it falls under, again, you still have your civil protections as far as answering questions. I'm sure you're aware of all of that. But they can detain you if they suspect you're committing a crime. Now, I'm not saying that that's not something that can happen, but the second that they don't suspect you of committing a crime or whatever, they still have a casual encounter. If you terminate that encounter, that's fine. You terminate the encounter. You understand all that. I'm sure you're familiar with what your rights are on there, but there's nothing that stops them from having conversations with you either, though. Where he's having a conversation with you out there on the sidewalk, there's nothing illegal about him having a conversation with you. You can refuse to answer any of his questions. You don't have to engage with him. He can't force you to engage with him. Where it would become an issue if he detains you without a reason to detain you. But as far as the public view stuff, there's nothing illegal about that.
Thank you.
As far as the original complaint on the officer while you're up here, I can go get that commander who's over that division who handles that, and I'll let him know you're in here, and I can go back and get him, bring him back to go over whatever his investigation was. He can go over the results of that with you. Do you have any more questions about that? And this is going to be one of his officers too, because this is going to be patrol division. I'm over our special operations division, so I'm responsible for the people who are in my division. He's responsible. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
I mean, just like military or anything else, we all have our command structure and
Yes,
stuff
sir.
like that.
Yeah, I had no problem with him coming up and talking to me. It's just I got that attitude when he didn't give me his name right off, and then he turned around and ran the tag. That's when I started getting upset. But you know, him coming up to me and all that was fine. I'm good with that. Mm-hmm. You know, I just want them to know that I'm there recording. You know, but I've been at multiple scenes with that same officer, especially when he pulled out at that club and hit that car.
Now,
that was months ago.
I think you might be confusing him with somebody else because he hasn't been involved in a wreck to where he's pulled out in front of somebody.
Oh, okay.
So you might be mixing him up with somebody else.
I might be. Yes, sir.
So, and again, you know, we encounter, I don't know how many people to put a number on it every day and stuff like that. I mean, unless it's just somebody we routinely just have interactions with, you know what I'm saying? You just just like you might mistake that officer and you're following them around and stuff like that, it's possible for them to mistake who you are too, unless they, we've had multiple encounters and stuff like that. I encounter a lot of people throughout the day and stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
I may not can remember, every person I've ever talked to when I've had 25 to 50 encounters every day, especially after a couple months and stuff like that. It's a lot of people to keep up with, a lot of things to remember. Unless something significant has happened to cause that, memory mnemonic right there, then you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just,
yes, sir.
Same thing you would go through, like, as far as, if you've had a conversation with somebody, it just takes some of those details to stand out.
Yes, sir.
Get the store from you. But if you want to talk more with, again, he's going to be in the uniform division officer that you were just talking about when I'll go get that commander.
Okay.
And if you want to just.
I'm not here to cause no problems. I'm here to only do what I'm legally allowed to do, and I'm not here to cause any problems whatsoever.
There's nothing illegal about filming, and we live our life on camera too. I mean, we've got cameras with. You talk about, privacy. Imagine, going to work every day and every interaction you do, you're having to turn on a camera. Everything you say is recorded. Everything you do is recorded. Like, there is no expectation of privacy in this job.
Yes, sir.
So we don't have a problem with being filmed. We're having to film everything that we're doing anyway. So it doesn't matter whether somebody else is filming or whether we're filming ourselves. Everything we're doing, every interaction we have is being recorded. So we're always under a microscope. Every action that we do, everything we say, everything is being recorded. So we're constantly, having to hold ourselves to that standard,
yes,
and which is expected. We're entrusted with a public duty, and the public needs to have trust in us. So, we don't have a problem with anybody. Matter of fact, I like as many cameras as I can have, because you might record something that my camera didn't record. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if you're willing to provide that, then that's just another angle of something. And I've personally been in situations to where I appreciated having video of something that might have looked a different way if you didn't have the other camera angle of what was going on. So people do appreciate having,
because one camera angle can look like something else when the other camera angle
correct.
shows.
Everything can be placed in a matter of perspective.
Yes, sir.
And you know how it is as much as you film and stuff like that. You can film one thing and you can not see what's going on to the side, and then by the time you're looking at that video, it's a completely different story. But if you looked at both angles of that, it changes exactly what you just saw and what you believe was this way to start with. That adds another perspective to it, and then you can see what something else was going on.
Yes, sir.
So there should be no reason for anybody. Everybody's pretty much familiar with being filmed. We've had First Amendment auditors who've they've been coming to Anniston for years, long before you were.
I have nothing to do with any. I'm just handicap news. I'm
just saying, we've had people who have filmed the sidewalk. The chief has come out when people were filming out there and said, you can come in, like, we don't mind. Like, if y'all want to come in and film, we can take you through areas. The only thing is, if we've got an investigation going up, there's information that we have to protect.
Yes,
that is not available to the public, and I'm sure you'd appreciate that too. We're not going to make your information publicly available and stuff like that, so anybody can see that. So things we're required to protect, we'll protect. But things that are transparent, that don't require any concealment because of the sensitive nature of it, we don't mind. So,
I saw that video where they were at the depot. They went to the back gate and was, I used to work at the depot. The back gate where all the graveyard is, I saw where they were going towards the gate, and then they all got arrested. I was like, that's the depot's property. Y'all need to look up the property lines before you go past all that.
Yeah, so I'm not familiar with all the details of that case, but I do know, like, some of the people that are going out and they were filming at the depot or near the depot. those same folks would show up here and they didn't get any response out of us because, again, and we've gotten called to places where people are saying, hey, they're out here filming. I think it's becoming more common knowledge with people now. We don't get as many of those calls and stuff like that, but even the calls we responded to, and we're going out there and somebody else complaining about somebody filming, it's the same thing we would, tell anybody else. And if they're on a public piece of public property and they have a right to see, if it's not something that's concealed or whatever, if you can see it from the public eye, you can film it.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, and we've told people who've called us to complain on that in the past, and our officers all know, they're all familiar with people's one, constitutional rights, but also it was kind of strange when it first started happening years ago and stuff like that. It was uncommon, and just like anything else, we can put common sense on this. It was uncommon for people to show up to traffic stops and get out and start filming.
Yes, sir.
The officers didn't know what was going on. It's something they've never encountered before. It was out of place back then. It's not out of place anymore. Okay. I mean, almost everything in public, every street corner you go on, just about every business you walk into, almost everywhere you go in today's society has a camera somewhere. So now we've become accustomed to that, and it's not out of place anymore when they see it. So that has changed some of the responses that you've seen. But no, our officers are very familiar with it. We've been exposed to it for years, and we were one of the first agencies locally that had body cameras on too. So I mean, we've been pioneering that for decades.
Yes,
at this point. So we've had our cars on video, our dash cameras, and now we've got the body camera. So we're completely familiar with everything, and we don't have any issue. We don't overstep our authority in those situations. But I will go get that commander, and I'll have him.
Okay.
You want to wait right here? That way you got to go back out and walk again.
Okay.
I'll bring him.
Thank you, sir.